2018, and I want you to listen to this very carefully, because these statistics are very important. As of 2018, the majority of Jamaica's population falls between the ages of 0 to 39. Of this number, 19 to 39, 975,000 Jamaicans are within that bracket. And most of these Jamaicans, these young people, are among the most directly affected by the deep lack of access to affordable land and housing.
Yes, serious problem.
But the crisis, Mr. Speaker, extends further. There are many Jamaicans aged 40 to 55 who still have not yet acquired housing.
Okay.
You know the dangers of that, Mr. Speaker? When you're in that age bracket, it is more difficult to secure a mortgage, a 25-year mortgage. And most Jamaicans who are in this age bracket, as a serious point, is yet to own anything. And beyond that, you have Jamaicans who are 55 and over who still don't own a piece of the rock. It is also estimated that over 700,000 Jamaicans, some say the figure may be closer to 1 million, live in informal settlements because they cannot afford decent and affordable housing. Studies in 2004 and 2008 concluded that the Jamaican government owns 75% of these lands. The Commissioner of Lands, the Crown don't own any land in Jamaica anymore. The Commissioner of Lands has 47%. Agencies and the municipal corporations have another 53%. The solution is not far away, Mr. Speaker. Because we, the People's National Party, when we form government, will ensure Angie, no, don't do that. Mr. Speaker, we will ensure that the political will to pass ownership to the people is initiated. You soon hear something because we're failing as a minister too. You soon hear.
Listen,
what is
people.
needed now
Listen.
is a radical shift. One that removes the stigma of informality and puts power back in the hands of the people. The next People's National Party government has identified land and housing as a priority for national transformation. We begin from the principle that every Jamaican who desires to own a home should be facilitated to do so at all costs. Home ownership in the 21st century must be treated as a right, similar to education and health. Yes. The inability of thousands to own a home is rooted in the structural inequalities that govern Jamaican society. One essential step is to accept informality as a legitimate mode of urbanization. We must support and collaborate with those who are parceling land and constructing buildings in informal settlements rather than working against them.
Hear, hear.
I'll get to that soon. This will not be easy. It challenges our sense of order. However, in a society marked by profound structural informality and deep inequality, true social cohesion can only be achieved through dialogue and consultation with a clear framework of legal reform.
Hear, hear.
Such an approach will yield better results rather than a heavy-handed and punitive approach. Order in a democratic society comes from agreed norms, not from a big stick or a bulldozer. A future PNP government will take bold steps, including drawing inspiration from Dominica, as mentioned earlier.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show for yet another Wednesday evening. Yesterday evening was a good show. Call some people, and I want to say to the team, all members of the team, we are now at 5,000 subscribers. We are over 5,000 subscribers. So if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, Portland Spice TV, please subscribe, like, and share. Welcome to Caribbean Radio HD for yet another Wednesday evening. It is a big show evening. Big show. We have two big, massive interviews. We are going to be talking to Dr. Christopher Burgess, an engineer, a land surveyor, man who have written many pieces on houses in Jamaica. A man who has made his piece known as it relates to the NWC and what they are doing in terms of their reporting on water quality in Jamaica. So Dr. Christopher Burgess will be on at 4:30, 5:30 Caribbean Radio time. Then, at 15 minutes after 5 o'clock, 15 minutes after 6 o'clock in the US, we are going to be talking to MP Luthan Cousins. You were listening to him a while ago, and I'm going to make you hear a little bit more, because he made a presentation in the parliament yesterday, in the sectorial debate. And I want to say this. Any Jamaican, whether you live abroad or you live in Jamaica, and you want to own a piece of land in Jamaica, the People's National Party is the vehicle. Jump on board. And let me play some more of Luthan Cousins, because he was telling us how Jamaicans will be getting land under the next PNP government.
We will revisit the issue of government land and how persons who have been living on it for decades can benefit.
This is what I want you to hear.
We are not merely just giving it away, but a system must be designed to ensure that those in possession.
Let me take your call like our answer. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Caribbean Radio. Caribbean Radio HD, good afternoon. All right, you just ring my phone and you don't want to talk. Luthan Cousins.
Given an opportunity to legally acquire these lands. This is how we create an ownership society. When we do this, we're not only building an ownership society, we are building national pride. Yes. We're building progress. Yes. We're building and creating opportunities for independence. Yes. And we are most importantly resolving the long-standing issue of security of tenure. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, regularizing these informal settlements can only contribute positively to society. The country stands to benefit immensely. It's a win-win. It gives land to the landless, it restores trust in the government, and has the potential to earn real-time revenue from lease, sale, and even property tax collections. Yeah, yeah. I must quickly add, Mr. Speaker, that this approach is not a one-size-fits-all. Each community has its own unique set of circumstances. as said earlier, consultation will be important. In some cases, and we'll concede and we'll be honest, we may have to relocate due to environmental and other factors which render certain areas uninhabitable. We will revisit how persons living on government land for decades can benefit from ownership, not through giveaways, as I said earlier. This is why we propose that under a future PNP government, the cost of the land will be excluded from the NHT housing crisis. This will result, Mr. Speaker, in savings of $2 to $3 million per housing unit. What it simply means, Mr. Speaker, is that a NHT starter home is now at 14 million. When we form government, those units will be on the market for between 11 to 12 million. Yes. That represents savings for those of us who know what paying a mortgage is like. You'll appreciate the savings over 25 to 30 years. The funds that will now be at your disposal to use for other purposes. It might seem negligible, but it may be 10 to 15 to $20,000 in savings per year over 25 years. Those who mock it don't understand the hardships of the Jamaican people. And if they did understand, they would appreciate the significance of the proposal. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sorry. The view has been advanced.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Caribbean Radio HD.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. I have been watching your program, and I am a bit taken aback sometimes by some of the comments. It would appear that your program is very supportive of the People's National Party in Jamaica. Am I right on that?
I am a member of the People's National Party.
All right, good. Now, in the heat of the election that is taking place, what I believe we should do is to pit both parties on the basis of policy.
Yes.
So, against that background, there's a question I'd like to ask you. We have seen the Jamaica Labour Party have brought crime down to 42%.
No, they have brought, no, hold on. They have brought it down by 42%. So it's
by
not
40%.
So it would be at 58%.
Yes, by 42%. Secondly, we have seen where unemployment is 3.5% currently. Thirdly, we have seen our GDP has been, really manageable. We see also the government for the past 9 years have not added any tax to their budget consistently for 9 years.
As not what?
As consistently not applied tax to their budget for 9 consecutive years.
They have not applied tax. What do you mean by
yes.
that?
No new tax. No new tax.
No new tax. No, okay.
Yes,
all right.
For 9 consecutive years.
So they say.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. But yeah, that has not been disputed.
Are you aware
yes,
that
sir.
when they did the reclassification of civil servants' salary, they are now taxing traveling that never used to be taxed? Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not. But
you're not aware of that.
Question first. Well, let me finish Let me finish. Against that background that I have stated a while ago, I would love to hear from you to articulate the PNP's policy to reduce unemployment from 3.5% to 1.5%, to further reduce crime from 46% to 20%, to also run a budget consistently over a pattern of time. Hello?
Yeah, man, I'm listening to you.
Yeah. To consistently run a budget over time where no new taxes are implement it.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold on.
No, man, don't tell me no hold on. You talk long time. If you come for a monologue, then you have to pay for the time. If you come for a dialogue, then we have to speak together. Right? And you have said a lot of what I consider to be a lot of crap. Because you talk about this no new taxes. Since 2016, have we had any increase in taxes in Jamaica?
That's not the question.
I am asking you a question.
The PNP's policy.
Yeah, man, and I will do that.
Done. What they're putting forward.
I will, hold on. I will do that. But you said some things that we have to correct because you're not going to come here, dump out a load of garbage and mislead people. So you said that there have been no new taxes. I am asking you, have we any tax increase since 2016?
What I am aware of, there are more tax collection. There are more taxes.
May I ask you a question? If you don't know, say you don't know. If it's yes, say yes. And if it's no, say no.
And I am saying
have we had any increase in taxes since 2016?
Not that I know of.
You don't know of that. All right.
No.
Let me give you one homework.
Yeah.
Go find out what was the cost to get a driver's license in 2016 and what is the cost to get a driver's license now. 1. 2. Go find out what was the cost for a man to relicense his firearm in 2016 and what is the cost to license that firearm now in 2020. When you find those, if you find any increase, come back and let the Jamaican people know. You said you want me to articulate the PNP policies.
Exactly. That's what I'm interested in.
Right. So the PNP is planning to grow the Jamaican economy that has not grown more than 1.8% since 2016. So what
are the policy statements that will enhance that? That's what I'm asking.
So you're going so you have to listen now. So you have to listen now. You ask me a question, you have to allow me now to answer. So we are going to grow this economy. And some of the planks that we are going to use agriculture. We are going to cut the food importation bill by 25% in our first term in office. Jamaica's food importation bill right now is $2 billion, over $2 billion. A cut by 25% would cut that importation bill down to $1.5 billion, thus bringing back $500 million into the Jamaican economy by bolstering our farmers, ensuring that our farmers can grow what we need, that we can start feeding ourselves, because food security is imperative. That's 1. 2, we are going to develop the logistics hub that we've been talking about since 2013. There are 3 logistics hubs around the world, one in Europe, one in Saudi Arabia, one in Singapore, and we are going to do this one in the Americas. And we'll be the global logistics industry is valued at over $27 trillion. Jamaica is strategically located. Our geographical location is what will allow us to make big bucks from logistics. We are going to invest heavily in the culture and the creative industry. The culture and the creative industry is valued at over $3 trillion annually. We heard the minister spoke yesterday, and the news can't find nothing to carry, because this GLP administration has watched culture and creative industry feel dropping down. It is one of the only things that we are competitive in on the world market. In fact, we are rated in the top 5 when you talk about culture and creative industry. Our aim is to earn at least 1% of that $3 trillion, which will work out to $30 billion annually coming into the Jamaican economy. Yeah? We are going to go heavy in renewable energy. I interviewed Philip Paulwell on Saturday morning, and our intention is to cut the light bill of Jamaicans by around 50%. 20% of what we are paying now for electricity is what is stolen. We are going to invest in solar and get people to stop throwing up wire on the line. And when we invest in solar also, that will bring down your light bill. So we're looking about a 50% reduction in electricity bill in Jamaica. We are also going to make sure that our young people have house to live in. You were just listening to Luther and Cousins, and he said that right now as we speak, if you live on government land, you have to wait 60 years before you can get it. When the PNP form government within a few months, those people who are live on government land for 25 years will be able to claim those lands right away. So if you want land, a piece of land to really feel proud that you own a piece of the rock, the People's National Party is the vehicle. So those are some of the things that we are going to do to ensure growth, to grow this economy by at least 5%, that people can start seeing the growth. Yes, we have low unemployment now, but people are still suffering because people are earning minimum wage. Minimum wage at this time is worse than what minimum wage was in 2016. I hope I give you some.
Okay.
And that's not everything. Because we are going to invest in
it.
education. We are going to ensure that our children get at least one meal each day in school. We are going to make sure that our children, not just one school bus serving 60,000 children, but we are going to give a subsidy. We are going to give a card to school children. Like when you're in England, you have your bus card. They get a card, and any vehicle they take, they will not pay. They will swipe their card and go to school. We are going to ensure that our health sector is booming, not like what is happening now with Cornwall Regional, where this government is carrying down the country to the tune of about $23.5 billion. That's what they say Cornwall Regional is projected to be.
You have articulated a number of positions, and I am old enough to know that most of the things that you have spoken of a while ago, I have heard them before during the 70s and leading up to now. And the best time the People's National Party can articulate a position is when they are in a position.
Hold on. You heard...
let me finish.
No, man. No.
Let me finish.
Brother, hold on. No. No, if you want a monologue... No, hold on, man. You're going to listen. You said you have heard...
I'm here for a dialogue. I am here for a dialogue.
So you said something.
Let me talk now.
You said something and you need to correct it. You said you have heard these before. Tell me, hold on. So tell me where you heard the culture and the creative industry intending on making $30 billion for Jamaica. Tell me where you heard that before.
All right. First to comment, from where I see, looking at the People's National Party performance in government, it can never be assessed in any positive way much better than the Jamaica Labour Party.
Hold on. That's not the question I ask you. Tell me where you have heard that plan for the culture and creative industry before. You said you hear it before. Tell me where you hear it.
All right. I think I've heard Damien Crawford articulate some of these positions before.
You never hear Damien Crawford talk about it.
I think I've heard Damien Crawford
You're lying.
Articulate some of these positions.
No,
before.
you hear Damien Crawford spoke about the entertainment zone. Me never even mentioned entertainment zone, and that is something that we're gonna do.
All right, cool.
Don't listen.
Saying to you,
hold on, Carla. You see this program?
No, I'm not gonna engage in a.
Hold on, man.
Hold on. Not having a conversation. I'm gonna leave the program.
Carla,
I'm gonna leave the program.
No, man, you can leave if you want to leave, because you're not going to come here. You're not going to come here and dump out your garbage. You're going to come here and speak truth.
Leave the conversation. If it is a conversation, I'm not gonna entertain anymore. If it is a conversation where you will articulate your position, I will articulate my
when
position.
You tell a lie, when you tell a lie, I'm going to stop you. If you say something that is not true, I am going to stop you. You two have a good evening. Have a good evening. No, come here and dump out no garbage. When you tell lie, me I go stop you. Which part you hear about logistics up in the 70s? Which part you hear about culture and creative industry bringing $30 billion in the 70s? Listen to me, man. This is not a garbage dump. When you come here, come with truth. We're not going to sit down and listen to you spill rubbish. So, fix up yourself when you're coming to talk to me. come with the truth. They say to him cup little, it must run over with everything. where you say? Me dump a tipper load in a little teacup. Listen me. I am not claiming anything about balance. What I am claiming is truth. So if you come and tell lie, me I go stop you. Me I go stop you. You understand what I say, Caribbean Radio? Come with the truth. And we have a discussion. But when you come telling lies that you hear these before, tell me where you hear them. You never hear Damian Crawford talk about earning $30 billion from culture and creative industry. You hear Damian Crawford talk about entertainment zones and what we can make from entertainment. I encourage everybody, go listen Bob Zigreen's speech, who is the Minister of Culture, Entertainment, Sports, and Gender Affairs in the Parliament yesterday. The media couldn't even find nothing to carry out. I watched Bob's presentation twice because I told myself that you missed something. It's 3 times I watch, you know? Yes. No, but I couldn't believe that Bob's presentation was so empty. Empty. They are still not trying to measure the culture and the creative industry. And hence, I am disappointed. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show on Caribbean Radio HD. Oh, come and gone. Let me tell you something. I don't have a problem talking to the labor rights, but come with truth. No garbage not going dump out around a year. I am willing to answer your questions when you ask me the questions about the PNP plans. Because I like those kind of questions. It gives me an opportunity to talk about the PNP plan. And Luton Cousin is going to be here later at 5:15. We're going to have him to talk about land for the landless, how Jamaicans are going to get a piece of this rock. And I can tell you that the PNP have a track record of giving access to more land than any other political organization in Jamaica. So, we don't have a problem with them come. Because it's one thing we know. Truth and the GLP now have no lot in our part. No, they don't talk truth. And in just that simple conversation, he was ready to tell a lie. No, I am not the kind of host where can sit down and listen to the lie. When me hear the lie, me I gotta tell you stop. Break up. You realize he couldn't answer me. The man said no if no tax increase since 2016. So this argument that the GLP about no new taxes. My question to you, have we had any tax increase since 2016? And I point to 2 things. That's just 2 that have been increased immensely. There is also one more. Look at your ticket costs. That's taxes. What was the cost for a seatbelt ticket in 2016? And what is the cost for a seatbelt ticket now? Good evening. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
Colin.
Yes, sir.
Big up. You must say labor right can't have a conscience in debate.
No, they have to tell some lies, and I'm not going to allow them to come here and tell the bag of lies.
Which is right.
Not
if you
going
come with something good, come with something good.
Yeah, man, come with the truth. And make we take it.
Yes, man.
Make we muscle up with chest and take it and say, well, that's true. But you know, come spill no lies, and we sit down and listen to your lies.
But as the text I just say a while ago, you come with that you put small in a milk cup, and when you just tell him say can't hold in there, so you must just get confused and dash with the cup.
No, after me tip out the tipper, he couldn't find the cup. The cup last.
He couldn't find the cup.
The cup cover. My cup is full and running sir.
Get confused and don't know which party cup turn around in.
No, man, it's truth we talk around here. Truth.
Yeah, man. Big up yourself, yeah, man. Truth to deal with around here.
Yes, man, it's truth we talk around here. And facts. Yeah.
Yes, man.
All right, my brother, enough respect. Facts we talk about. Figures. Truth. Nothing but the truth. So help me God. If I say something is not true, I don't know. And if you come with the right thing, I accept. Because I don't claim to be the reservoir of all information or knowledge. Yeah. Somebody said, look at the cost for a passport, new traffic ticket. Yeah. So, you see right here, so? Yes, so them have problem, you know. Because them are run off their mouth. No new taxes. Have we had any increase in taxes? Is the government collecting more taxes than they used to collect? I tell you one thing. The collection of taxes in 2016 almost doubled in 2017 because Mark Jefferson Golden, Portia Simpson Miller, and Peter Phillips put things together that the country started collecting more taxes. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
Evening, Mr. Bell. How are you? Hope all is well.
Most things are.
You know, I was listening to that caller, you know, who you had to put in his place in regards to talking the truth.
Yes.
And you know, if there's one thing what people must learn for doing, it must learn to be objective no matter what. Now, one thing I've learned over the years, I mean about other people, but Mr. Bell, if me and you have, if I see you as a person, right? And let us just say you treat me in a favorable manner, but me say how you treat other people in an unfavorable manner, but yeah, treat me decently. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to point you as a good person. Me can objectively state, say, even though you might talk to me decently or treat me fairly, how me see you deal with other people answer is of a questionable nature.
Yes.
You understand? So some people, what I realize, what them do, you know, they will talk about, because I was listening to Jeffrey earlier today. I think it was from his program yesterday, and a person called in and said, oh, the only 2 times him ever seen a significant pay increase was under Bruce Golding and Andrew Holness, led when Nigel Clark was finance minister. And I'm thinking to myself, but then, so you're talking about yourself. And this is the problem where Jamaica has headed into. Instead of looking at everything from a community standpoint, everybody started to look at an individual thing now. Okay, I'm doing all right. I don't care about the other 99 people around me. You know, so I just find like say, you know, sometimes people look at their own situation and you know, look at the broader picture.
Yes.
To just say, you know what, at the end of the day, regardless of, the overall picture is, and everybody doing bad in Jamaica. We can't say 100% of the people in Jamaica are doing bad, but the majority of the people out there are doing bad to themselves. Yes. And that's all I wanted to add to that, Mr. Bell. Continue with the show. Bless up.
Thank you for your call, my brother. You see, we can't continue to be selfish because I have food for my table. I have business if nobody else have. That's not how I live my life. I want everybody to have food on them table. Can send their children to school. 8,700 land titles have been distributed up to 2023 by this government. 8,700 from 2016. Listen to Luton Cousins and him tell you how much lot out and I have no title. I'll go and listen a little bit more and we get Dr. Christopher Burgess in the meantime.
That land is not a trinket,
Exactly so.
a piece of jewelry as it was treated in the past. It ought not to be locked away and preserved unused for decades to satisfy the selfish motives of those who can afford to do so. This is particularly true of crown lands, crown or government lands, which in a real sense belongs to the people and should be used by the people for the benefit of the people. So we're not giving it to them, it's theirs. They are the ones who elected us here and put us here. They are the ones who ensured and suffered over decades and centuries. They have been occupying these lands and they deserve a piece of the pie. Mr. Speaker, we cannot discuss land ownership without looking at the Registration of Titles Act.
Listen this.
Now, under this 1833 law, mark the date, a person in adverse possession of crown land was unable to prove possession unless they reach the 60-year mark. Our research has shown, Mr. Speaker, that in countries like England, where this law originated, it is now 10 years. The 60 years is now 10 years, save and except for land on the foreshore. The view of the UK Commission that reviewed the law is that in these modern times, the government has a duty of care to its citizens to protect crown lands and to ensure their productive use. It is no longer permissible to use the explanation of the large acreage or resource constraints to restrict persons from occupying these lands. Under the next PNP government, we are proposing the reduction of 60 years to 25 years.
Hold on, Luton. You hear that? What you starting in Jamaica, you have to have government land in your possession for 60 years before you can claim it. Luton Cousins is proposing that under the next PNP administration, if you have been occupying government lands for 25 years or more, you can now claim that land as your own. Carla, good evening and welcome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Portion Spice, Mr. Bell.
Good afternoon and welcome.
I have been watching your program for a while. You, Jeffrey, Conrad, and the rest of people in the diaspora.
Yes.
And I've been watching the parliamentary sessions for quite a while now, maybe almost 2 years when I have the time. And yesterday was the proudest moment in my life.
Because
when I heard Mr. Cousins talk about those land titles.
Yes.
The land titles for poor people. I'm not gonna go into my life story and details, but for tell you the truth, my parents died and there is a hello?
Mm-hmm. I am listening to you.
My parents died and they left us some land. And after they died, Kaiser Backside came in. They were mining our area.
Yes.
So it's like we were the only ones left in that little district. Our land wasn't sold. And they they gave us some land. I wasn't around at the time. I was living abroad and my sister went and mapped out the places that they were showing her. Anyway, long story short.
Yeah.
I don't have the money to go pay to get the title. And I mean, when you talk to them, it's like this pushing off. One lawyer in one office down Senans Bay, she cursed me out because she wanted me to pay her she already supposed to give me a temporary document so that I could go to the lands office to get the title.
Yeah.
But she wants to make money off that again. So she and I had an argument and I just scrapped it. So yesterday when I heard, I know it's not going to be free, but at least now I am free to walk into, if I want Mark Golden to win the election, so I can walk into the lands office and try to see if I can secure
and
the title.
And you heard Luton spoke about some of those same land where the backside company remove people off of them land, put them on land and not give them no title. We are going to fix all of that.
No title and giving you a piece of paper saying that they hold back some money because they have to go pay for. It's a slack thing. Another problem is there's a piece of land that we have, and it's in little bit above Senans Bay. And you know what they did? when they were cutting that highway going Mercy into Montego Bay, they cut off a big chunk of the land and nobody said anything to us.
Then you have to defend your thing, man. You have to defend your thing.
I'm just, I'm going
right.
to do it. But these people in this regime, I don't call this government, these people are government. It's a regime. Everybody is regimented and ready. When you can ask them, I call an office up in Kingston and nobody will pick up the phone. They don't answer phones. And if you do get somebody, they are on the defensive.
It's messy. It's messy. But we're going to sort it out. We're going to bring back transparency and accountability to government in Jamaica. All right?
All right. I thank you, and Jeffrey and Conrad and the rest of you. I mean, what's his name? I can't even ABR and Andre and the rest of people who are shining the light. One last thing, if I can say this.
Go ahead.
That man who called in, I noticed since a couple days ago, they are on the offensive. You know what they're doing? They're coming on people's programs and like they want to tell you how to speak. This is not going to happen. You cannot be defending a person who is indefensible. Andrew only went into politics to enrich himself, to make himself big.
Big up yourself.
He did not care about us.
Thank you for calling. 876-804-7072. Welcome to Caribbean Radio.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Hold on, Dr. Burgess.
I was on the program a minute ago.
All right, hold on. Caller. We're going to an interview with Dr. Burgess. After that interview, you can call me back. All right?
All right, cool.
All right. We have a scheduled interview that we're going to right now with Dr. Christopher Burgess. And we're going to be talking about some of the housing situation in Jamaica, where we're coming from, where we need to go, and such like. So stay with us right here on Caribbean Radio HD, Portland Spice TV. So, Dr. Burgess, good evening.
Good evening, Colin, to you and your listeners.
Yeah, man. Welcome to Caribbean Radio HD all across the United States. We are on Internet Radio, Alexa, and we are on Portland Spice TV. Dr. Burgess, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? How long you've been doing it? We know you've been doing this over 25 years, but just update my listeners for me.
Okay, in a nutshell, I'm a civil engineer. Been working with land developers for a lot of the 25 years, but 10 years ago, 8 years ago, we figured that we'd do it ourselves, and we've developed a brand called Smart Home. Well, before that, we developed a commercial property, 60,000 square feet. So we're land developers and engineers. In terms of engineering, we specialize in civil and environmental engineering. I would say a lot of our projects tend to center around road infrastructure, housing developments, and by extension, our brand focuses on housing development, particularly for the middle income in the market. And in the future, it will be focused to low income end of the market.
What are these smart homes?
For us, I think the motivation was the environmental engineering aspect of my business.
Yes.
Smart homes mean energy smart.
Yes.
So a part of the reason why I'm marginally late for your interview is speaking with a electrical and mechanical engineer who will provide photovoltaic systems for our homes. So all of our homes that we just sold come with a package that almost take you off the grid.
Almost.
It was heart rendering. I went and checked one of the purchasers 2 months ago, and I asked her what was her light bill, and she said she was paying 1,000 Jamaican. You know, 1,000 Jamaican is like about $6 US.
1,000 Jamaican for light bill per month.
Per month.
Hallelujah.
And this was, admittedly, she's a prudent lady. She's pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
So smart first means energy smart. We also capture all of the rainwater from the roof, and it's available for gardening and for car washing in a tank. We have a solar water heater, which is a pretty standard feature, and we have all wireless devices in the house, so wireless plugs, switches, flood lamps, with CCTV cameras built in for back and front of the house. So you can stay from work and see what's going on around the house. You know, the usual things that you have in a home nowadays, you know?
We have thousands of people in the diaspora listening to us right now. So if you're intending on coming to Jamaica, getting a smart home, look up Dr. Christopher Burgess. He's online. Once you type in his name, you're going to find him. Dr. Burgess, we're calling here to talk to you about a couple of things. Housing in Jamaica. And we are in what is called the silly season. Everybody trying to put their best foot forward. But coming from the 70s, the 60s, how have we been doing in providing affordable housing for our people in Jamaica?
Well, certainly in the last 10 to 20 years, but certainly in the last 10 years, we're doing worse. And the crisis is deepening. So coming from the 60s, we did okay. We did 20,000 homes. In the 70s, which was our second best period, we did 42,000 homes. Double the production of the 60s and the 80s.
So hold on, you're saying in the 60s, hold on, you're saying in the 60s, we do 20,000, 20,000. Yeah. And in the 70s,
was 42,000.
42,000. And in the 80s,
it dropped a little bit to 32,000, and that was because of, you know, crisis and other things and some missteps. So sometimes governments have to take responsibility for making bad decisions. So if you have a housing crisis, Mr. Colin, you can't put more money into credit. You have to put more money into supply. A crisis means you don't have enough of something. In order to have more of something, you have to turn up the production. And so that was a mistake of the 80s, and so it fell. And then in the 90s now, which was the highest production of houses, they almost got up to 50,000, 48,000 and change to be precise. And that was because of a particular reason. Yes, they had crisis, that also crisis as well, but in the 90s, what the government of the day did was to formulate more JVs that were tightly controlled towards the low-income end of the market.
More what?
At the end of the... Sorry, what was that?
You said more JD, that's what you said?
Joint ventures that were tightly controlled towards the low-income end of the market. Starter homes and the one-bedroom homes and the two-bedroom homes for the affordable end of the market.
So between 2000 and 2010, how many did we do?
From 2000 to 2010, it has dropped to 22,000 thereabouts. I'm going to bring up the exact figure and tell you. But it has dropped progressively from that almost now to 11,000, 12,000 in the last 5 years. So we see where the trend is going.
So
and it's not that we're not building pretty homes, you know, we're building pretty homes.
Yeah.
But pretty homes are more expensive to build than starter homes.
Right.
You know, and we have to make up our mind if we're going to house the nature or if we're going to build pretty homes.
So you're saying no, we are not building enough houses for low income people?
Exactly.
I'd really love to get the figure between 2010 to 2020, 2020 to present, because
I have the exact numbers here now.
Go ahead.
2000 to 2010, the exact number was 40,700. 2010 to 2019 was 28,000.
Hold on, 2010
to 2019.
2019. How much was that?
Was 28,000.
28,000.
864.
28,864. And 2019 to present?
11,981.
11,981. 981. So
Mhm.
our best was between in the 90s and
In the 90s,
2000
it was 48,250.
and 2000 to 2010 was 47,000.
40,755.
Oh, 40,700
Yes,
and how much?
755.
55. I'm writing down these figures, Dr. Burgess, because these
Yes,
are things that people normally ask and we want to know. Because on this
yes.
program, we pride ourselves on speaking just the truth, not about
All right.
being.
So, no, Colin, having said all of this, I
Yes.
must tell you that we have institutions, national institutions, that have, for the most part, remained focused on keeping a record of the truth. And the Planning Institute of Jamaica
Yes.
and their library has been instrumental. And so, for example, I have the last 60 years of data on the economy and the social economic survey report, which is put out. And these are national records. This is not people putting things out of the sky or telling whether the HH or the NHT could make up some story. You
So
get what I'm
anybody
saying?
can go find this.
Anybody can go and find it. As a matter of fact, if they push me hard enough, I might tell them to find it.
You might do what?
Tell them to find it.
Okay. Now, Dr. Burgess, housing, yes. But also, I am of the opinion that if you give a Jamaican a piece of land, they're going to build on it. How have we been doing as it relates to land distribution? We listened to Luther and Cousins yesterday talking about how many the government still have over 70% of the lands in Jamaica and people can't get a piece of land to build a house. How have we been doing with that?
How do we deal with it?
How have we been doing in terms of giving
how have we been
access
doing with it?
to our
All right.
people to
So
lands?
I wrote an article on it, and I'm a land developer. I must tell you that I do try to get land myself, and the situation is not always transparent, but it's also not very affordable all the time as well. So in order to get a developer to acquire land to build affordable homes is not an easy task. And so to answer that question, how have we been doing? We've been doing very bad. Reason being, and I'm going to borrow an example from the late 60s and early 70s. A part of how Portmore was built was the government of the day divided up government land, master planned it, and turned it over to developers and said to them, we want you to build this.
Yes.
We don't have that happening now. What is an auction system where the man with the most money wins? If you have a auction system, this market-driven system, you're going to get houses that are geared towards the middle and the high income.
Yeah.
And it's bad business. And the reason why I say it's bad business is because there are far fewer in the high income bracket than there are in the low income bracket. As a matter of fact, probably 70 to 80% of the market is in the lower middle to the low income bracket. So the government needs to kind of refocus the government land and do targeted joint ventures as they did in the 90s as well.
So the housing trust was mainly designed to assist with low income housing. What are your assessment of the housing trust over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 decades?
All right. Fantastic. NHT has been fantastic and has saved the people of Jamaica as far as housing is concerned. So from its inception, it has, I think, issued almost 300,000 mortgages. But in the difficult time when the government was in crisis, what we found out, was seeing the data, is that the NHT was the one that kept building going.
Yes.
Because it had a large pool of money and it had a very steady hand in how the building went on. And so in my estimation, over that wide range of time from 1976, when it was created to now, it has been the savior for low, middle, and even some high-income persons and housing.
Yeah,
No,
because
let me be honest. In the last 10 to 20 years, I think it has lost focus on its mandate. And it's more focused now on what I would call the demand side, providing mortgages. And that's fine. But you also need to provide support to developers who want to build a home.
yes.
If you have a demand for 15 homes and you're only building 2, then the 2 that are built will fetch a higher price than if you had built the 15.
Yes.
And that is
Understand.
almost exactly what is happening. We have an annual demand of 15,000 and we're building between 2,000 and less than 3,000 a year.
That's what I was just about to come to. What is the demand? So you're saying yearly we need 15,000 houses
Yes.
to satisfy the demand. How much are we
Yes.
building?
Between 2 and 3,000.
So let's go to the high end. We're building 3,000 a
Yes.
year. So we are short 12,000 houses. Do we have the capacity, Dr. Burgess, to deliver 15,000 houses annually for the people of Jamaica?
I think so. And, this is where history is great. And when we keep track of these things in our records, we can learn. So 1975 was our most productive year. We built 10,000 homes.
1975.
1975. Our second most productive year was in 1994, where we built 8,100 homes.
1994.
94.
We
Yes.
built 8,000.
Yes. These were all done with system houses.
What's that?
So with like precast panels.
Okay. Like the Portmore houses.
Technology which lends itself to mass production.
Right.
So we've had this technology for somewhere between 30 to 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine that we've gotten better at it. Machines are faster.
So,
we know a little bit more about concrete.
So why we're not building those houses anymore?
Well, I think a big part of it is not so much the technology of building, but the business of building and how these joint ventures for building affordable homes are not being created.
So would it be safe to say then that government is not being proactive or active in that kind of market, joint venture?
Absolutely. We're not applying ourselves to the problem. Gradually over the last 10 years, 20 years, we're not applying ourselves to the problem. And nobody must say, we had a crisis here or a crisis there. We had crisis in the 70s, we had crisis in the 80s, we had crisis in the 90s. So don't ball COVID either. So, it's time to get on with it, man.
What would be your suggestion to any one of the administration that will form the next government in Jamaica? It's
simple. 2 things. 1, form joint ventures with the government lands that are available, with purpose design, purpose built housing schemes. So, for example, you may find a piece of land, 2,000 acres, and you say, I want 12,000 homes here. They must not exceed 9 million or 10 million.
Yeah.
And that is the basis on which you get that piece of land to build.
Because now you're doing volume so you can get more money.
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, so the fact that you're doing volume, quick sale, yes, the profit might be small, but the volume will make up for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you can't build 10,000 high-income homes or middle-income homes. There's nobody to take that up.
Right.
It is the first thing is purpose design joint ventures with government land. The second thing I would say to any administration is all hands on deck. Now, in the 70s, a part of the reason why they produced so much homes is at one point, and even the U.S. government came to Jamaica in the 70s, not only for other reasons, but to study how we're building homes. And USA said, that at one point in time there were 7 government entities building homes.
In Jamaica.
So this idea where it must be only NHT, only HHA involved in housing, we need to put that aside. We need to now look to sugar company again.
Yes.
Look to the Ministry of Agriculture, look to local government, and even the Ministry of Health, and say, listen, from you, I want 1,000 homes this year. From you, I want 4,000. From you, I want 6,000 homes.
So
because that's how they did it in the past.
So you are saying to build 50,000 houses in 5 years, it is quite doable?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. I think the target is quite humble. Yes, it's quite humble.
Now, Dr. Burgess, you also weighed in on the water issue. We have had Jesse James Clark here with us, who spoke about the Water Commission submitting their findings to the KSMC. No release from the Ministry of Health. The KSMC came out, spoke about it, in fact started to warn people to boil their water. We heard the Water Commission come back and say that they will no longer be submitting their results to the KSMC, but they will be putting it on their website. You have looked at what they put out. What did you find?
I've looked at 4 months. I've looked at the first 2 months, which kind of brought the issue of poor water quality in rural Kingston, rural St. Andrew, to the fore. And it was alarming. And then they went into this mode of not sharing information. And then I've looked at March and April's data. And that too was alarming. And what was alarming about it as well is that they did not use what the WHO and it's internationally accepted as the parameter to measure the water quality with, or the safety of the water quality with.
Right.
And you know, Colin, here is my thing to my friends who are engineers at the NWC. It's okay for you to have a system giving problems for 1 month or 2 months.
Yes.
But this situation where we're locked down as a people and we decide not to tell our brothers and sisters what are the truth or what is happening, or not to be open, but to play politics with human health and to close down and then to be gulping water on the internet and saying that the water is fine, when we know it's not fine, is dangerous. It's health, you know. And I want to remind everybody about the typhoid situation in the 90s that killed people.
Talk to me.
And the 70s as well. There was 1 month in November in Westmoreland, at November 92, I think it was. 4 people died and 140 people got sick. I'm not saying that we have the potential for typhoid on top of us, no.
But we can't ramp
with the kind of things that lead to it.
Right, we can't ramp with the reporting and
we can't ramp with people's health.
But why would the Water Commission refuse to now submit their water sampling findings to the KSMC? What do you think about that?
Well, if you have something to hide, maybe it is you don't want to share it. Maybe it is that if it was good news, you would share it.
So, the E.
But
coli...
hang on there, Colin. I don't want you to focus on NWC alone. Yes, NWC have primary responsibility to sample and test. But Ministry of Health has the capacity to test.
Yes.
The Office of the Utility Regulation is legally bound to receive that information from NWC. They have a right to that information based on the license with NWC, and they have not insisted on it except to make an excuse for not getting it.
So are you of the opinion that they are relinquishing their responsibility as it relates to getting that report from NWC?
Well, OUR hasn't asked for it. You should ask. OUR, they have already made reason for it. And Ministry of Health has said the water is safe, but I want to ask them, you know, What did the May report show? Because there's a reason why we live in Jamaica, and we have friends in every place, nook and cranny, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And, what did the May report show?
But
You know.
it is rather strange and shocking that the minister is also supporting the Water Commission not to give the water sample result to the KSMC. And I heard you on another interview, and I don't remember exactly if you were saying that the E. coli aspect is no longer in the report.
Exactly. So they didn't use the E. coli measurement, which is the WHO, the international standard, which we test right down in Crossroads here. There's a lab that can test it. There's another lab of Pope Gardens who can test E. coli, and we refuse to use the right parameter. They change from total to fecal coliform rather than just using E. coli. So they're all over the place.
So there's a lack of transparency, would you say?
Lack of transparency. That's the number one thing, transparency. And they know that may fail as well. Just come straight, tell the people what's wrong and how it's going to be fixed.
Hold on. Did I hear you say that May results were not up to standard?
May were not up to standard. And they know too.
And the government is keeping this as a secret?
Well, one asked them about me, but what did the Ministry of Health say to them about me?
We will ask those questions. What did the Ministry of Health said about the NWC water result for the month of May? Dr. Burgess, exactly. You are an engineer. You are a civil engineer, you said?
Yes.
And you are involved in construction and all of that?
Land development,
engineering, all of that. I want to ask you about something that I did not mention when I spoke to you about this interview. And if you don't wish to get into it, I will understand. What would it cost to build, estimated, to build a 400-bed hospital in Jamaica? Roughly.
No, I can't venture down that lane. That one, I would need a few minutes to work it up.
Okay.
Yes, I need a few minutes to work it up.
So let me ask you this. Do you have any opinion on the projected $23.5 billion for the Cornwall Regional Hospital?
All right. I can't speak to the cost because the cost of the hospital is more than the concrete and steel, equipment and other things. But what I can speak about is the project management process.
Yes.
It is highly unusual. Highly unusual.
Highly what?
Unusual.
Unusual. Talk to us. Why would you say that?
So it's okay to open up a box and say it's going to take you 1 year to, fix it.
Yes.
And then after you start to fix it and you look in the corner of the box, you realize that this room needs to demolish and rebuild. And you say to the world, I don't need 1 year. I might need 2 years. So give me another year.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody going to crucify you for that. It kind of is not ideal.
Yeah.
But in the world of project management and construction, airports, hospitals, hotels, we plan things down to weeks.
Yes.
Not months, down to weeks.
Down to weeks.
I'm going to tell you something. The Chinese plan things down to days.
Yeah.
So when you are 5 years off,
it's terrible.
You are in la la land.
Problem.
La la land. Something is wrong.
Dr. Burgess, I'm not going to press you any further on that. Let me thank you for your time this evening, for talking to us about housing, water quality, and giving us a little insight in what you think about the Cornwall Regional Hospital. Thank you very much, Dr. Burgess. All the best.
Take care, Colin.
Bless
Take care, listen.
Dr. Christopher Burgess. That's the man you're seeing on the screen behind me. 5 minutes after 6 o'clock. You not eat. Turn off the instrument in the background.
Yes. I will. I definitely will. Yes. Good afternoon, sir. I was the gentleman who was talking to you earlier. But like I said, if I will be entertained on the program, I will be entertained on the basis that we have a dialogue. We're not in a monologue, but we have a dialogue. I make my point, you make your point, and that's the way we can best disseminate information to the viewer, to the audience.
All right,
So
and let me tell you,
our position that we have taken.
So let me tell you how it runs here. I am the chairman, and I heard a host told a interviewee that he have chairman's privilege. So when me stop you, me expect you to stop. Go ahead.
All right. Let's go back to the issue that we spoke to earlier about the tax, no new tax. The finance minister, including Nigel Clark and Fabian Williams, have repeatedly stated during the budget presentation that no new taxes were introduced. Now, when one looks at the whole threshold of taxes in Jamaica, there are a number of things that were done by the Jamaica Labour Party. One, we have income tax threshold increases.
I'm going to ask you
tax
again.
Credit reductions.
Hold on. I'm going to ask you again. Have there been any tax increase since 2016?
All right. And you go back to the point, you go back to the issue where you're saying because there are tax increases vis-a-vis the
but if you are increasing, if you are increasing tax, and I am paying more tax, and you are saying to me, but me not bring no new tax by you, what is the difference? I am still paying more.
All right. So let's look at it. Yeah.
So this
let's
no new tax. This no new tax is basically a scam. You're not bringing on a new tax, but you are increasing taxes.
I think I didn't hear you a minute ago. Yeah.
I said this argument about no new tax is a scam. It's a trickery. Because you are increasing taxes, so you don't need to bring no new one. Cost of living is going up every day. So instead of we paying $15 and $100, we are paying $30 on $200. I don't know if you would understand that. GCT is 15%. So when a pound of chicken used to cost $150, just using chicken, I don't think we pay taxes on chicken, but I'm just using a commodity. And when it costs $400, it's 4 times 15. Yeah? So you're paying $60 instead of when you used to pay $21 worth of tax. So the no new tax is hollow and general because you are increasing the taxes on the people. You know how much tax the government collect in 2016 versus how much they collect in 2017? You ever look at that?
So let's look at it. Yeah, so let's examine what you said. Let's examine what you said. You're making the point that because in the government's budget presentation, they did not officially declare that there is an increase in taxes on GCT tax, consumption tax. The government did not officially state a tax in that regard. As a result, the government can then declare that it imposes no new tax. However, you are saying then that with price increases, the commensurate taxes you will pay on the price increases will happen. Therefore, the argument that you're making that if you pay based on increased prices, you pay the increment increased taxes, it's a general shift. I think that don't make much sense.
Is it true? Is it true?
And understand that.
Is it true? Is it true?
That is not a sensible argument.
Is it true? Hold on, caller.
That is not a sensible argument to defend a position.
Caller.
Yeah.
I am saying to you, if a product costs $10,000, your GCT on that product would be $1,500, correct? At 15%.
And I am saying to you,
No,
sir.
man. Hold
and
on.
I'm
Is
saying
that
to you,
correct?
sir,
Hold on. Is that correct?
That I'm saying to you that is correct. But what I'm
So
pointing
hold
out
on
to
now.
you is
Hold on
that
now.
you
Hold
cannot
on.
use
Hold
that
on.
as an argument.
Hold on,
Yes.
man. Hold on.
No, hold on.
Hold on, brother.
Hold on.
Hold on, man.
No.
If
Listen.
because of
You-
bad, listen to me. If because of bad management and cost of living getting higher, that product now costs $20,000. Isn't it a fact that the GCT now becomes $3,000 instead of $1,500?
Listen, and I am saying to you, sir, I am saying to you, that kind of reasoning and that kind of rationale will only get to people who do not understand those dynamics.
No, it
I
can't
am
get to you
saying to
because
you,
you don't
Say,
understand
for
it.
example, you bring a car from. I am saying to you, if you say, for example, gas, for example,
Anyway, listen to me.
gas goes up
Hold on,
by
caller, listen to me.
5% this
Listen.
week.
Hello?
It stands to reason.
Hello? Hear me I said to you. This is your second time you're calling. I am giving you another minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I am pointing out to you what you are doing. Listen, what you are doing, because you're reasoning from a political perspective, you're not giving vent to counter argument to what you're saying, because you're reasoning strictly from a PNP, and anything with PNP do a PNP right, and this is a PNP argument, but we want you a PNP argument. That must not be the nature of the conversation. The nature of the conversation must be driven by dialogue, must be driven by counter argument. Counter argument can only disseminate different viewpoints from people. It can't be that people come on the program like yours, and all you want to hear is the People's National Party position. That don't make sense. It cannot help anyone.
All right, caller. Thank you very much for calling. Have a good evening.
If you check the fact.
A second time you call, and each time you get over 7 minutes. All I'm saying to you is that if cost of living increase, then the government collects more taxes as it relates to GCT on the prices. So if something normally costs 10,000, you're going to pay 11,500 for it. Hold on, caller. When it gets to 20,000, you're going to pay 23,000 for it. So if you can't understand that, then me can't help you, my brother. Go ahead, caller.
Colin.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
If you're a civil servant and you normally get your emoluments separate and they amalgamate the emoluments now
Yes.
and tax it.
Yes.
Isn't that an increase in taxes?
And it's also a new tax because
Of course,
as I said
it's
to
a
him
plan.
before, as I said to him in the first time him called, that government never used to tax overtime. Them never used to tax your traveling allowance. They have now put all of that in your salary and they are taxing it.
So him can't get that.
No, him not gonna get that because uncle me political. Him no political. Him no have no political agenda. Uncle me have political agenda. Well, the good thing is about